They are either complicit or they are extremely dumb. It's one of those two things. I'm talking about our so-called oil and gas experts now and our so-called media. These trillions of naira that NNPC claims it is paying on subsidy, which companies are they paying them to? Because from the details, the documents that we have obtained, NNPC does not pay a single dime. Shingbai, not a dime, not 1 cent, not a dollar, does not pay $1 to anybody as subsidy payment.
All right, I've explained times without number about lots of issues pertaining to the political system in the country, lots of problems that have dented the democracy that we actually advocated for, or the democracy we all have been advocates to. Okay, and as a result, I feel that Nigeria right now is an unstable state, I should say, because there are lots of issues that are unresolved by the Asiwaju government. The fuel subsidy, the ongoing tribunal in the Court of Appeal, the wanton killings everywhere, and so on. Even lots of states have unresolved tribunals and all of that. So as a result of, let's say, information tracing, I stumbled over a documentary, and this was surprisingly talking about the issues and the bitter truths behind the issue of fuel subsidy and its removal, to be precise, I must say. And what has been going on in the oil and gas sector over time for a while now, although unknown to Nigerians. And then finally, it will further show you and talk about or expose probes about the real reasons that fuel subsidy has been making lots of Nigerians stinkingly wealthy and rich for the past or over the last 10 years. This will shock you, because I don't even think that the federal government can lay their hands on such information, because they are the perpetrators of this particular misdemeanor. So without much ado, I think I have this documentary at a very large scale, but I'm going to give you a brief cut of it so you would understand what is really happening in the oil and gas sector. Why has Nigeria been over our head or heels over, talking about some little amounts of money that have been cut away from people's accounts, lots of funds that have been brought about over the issue of this alleged fuel subsidy. Do you know that Nigeria pays no dime to any company for refining its oil and gas? That is shocking. Without much ado, let me give you the brief cutaway from this documentary so you will know the truth behind the removal of fuel subsidy.
They are either complicit or they are extremely dumb. It's one of those two things. I'm talking about our so-called oil and gas experts now and our so-called media. Because when you see all of the business programs on all of the TV channels, Arise, TVC, NTA, all of them, when they talk and they make categorical statements about the fact that, oh, subsidy needs to go. And they say government can no longer afford subsidy. Meaning that they claim to know what the DSDP arrangement is and who government is paying our subsidy money to. They claim to know. So the media must now come out and tell us these trillions of naira that NNPC claims it is paying on subsidy, which companies are they paying them to? Because from the details, the documents that we have obtained, NNPC does not pay a single dime. Shingbai, not a dime, not 1 cent, not a dollar, does not pay $1 to anybody as subsidy payment. Another thing that also comes out from our findings is the fact that no oil marketer, I repeat, no oil marketer, whether independent marketer, whether major marketer, no oil marketer needs to source for forex, needs to source for dollar to bring in crude based on the direct sale, direct purchase arrangement of the NNPC. None. So all this talk about subsidy putting pressure on the naira and causing it to devalue, it's a lie. It's a big lie. Now there are 15 companies, refineries, NNPC calls them consortium. They posted their list. It was NNPC that posted their list themselves. Shell is among them. Exxon, BP, British Petroleum is among them. And 15 others working in cahoots with companies in Nigeria. I'm telling you now, those refineries, those 15 companies must now come and tell us how much NNPC paid to them, because we're going to drag all of them before a court. They must come and tell us how much NNPC paid to them as subsidy in dollar, and what services they rendered. And then we will now compare it to the agreement, the documents that show that NNPC has not paid a single dime. How can people be this wicked? If Tinubu knows what's good for him, if the advisors of Tinubu know what's good for them, they should not fall into this trap that has been set for them. They should not fall into it. They should just jejely waka pass by doing the right thing. Now, what is the right thing? All the companies that have collected money under the guise of subsidy payment based on the DSDP arrangement must now refund those monies. They must refund those monies. And all this talk about, oh, we are removing subsidy, is actually a lie. All they just want to do is increase the price, the pump price of fuel. That's what they want to do. Because before now, there is no subsidy. People were just being given money. No subsidy. Now that Dangote refinery is complete, if they continue at this rate, we cannot hide behind subsidy anymore. They now want to collect the money from Nigerians directly by increasing the pump price of fuel. That way, Dangote refineries and their shareholders will now maximize profit. So the same people will now are just planning to change how they collect the money from Nigerians. Nigerians, we cannot keep quiet. If we keep quiet, we do so at our own risk. Don't think that it's only transportation. It is not. I don't think that it will only increase the cost of transportation and the cost of food and that's it. No. Everything will change. And the worst of it is that people will lose their jobs and more people will be thrown into extreme poverty. Maybe it's just 133 million now. Maybe we're soon going to see 150 million because of this. Right now, people are already suffering. And that is why it behoves on people like you watching and people like me to do the needful if we have interest in saving the average Nigerians.
All right, I think if you would ask me, I would say that documentary was just on point. Yes, it came on time, let me say, because lots of Nigerians don't even have a grip on what the real meaning, let me say, of the removal of fuel subsidy is. Now, the oil and gas sector has this style of refining oil and gas products or petroleum products. The truth remains that the subsidy money, the alleged purported subsidy capital, is supposed to be the amount of money paid by the Nigerian government to foreign companies or foreign refineries, I must say, that undertake the refining and then the processing of our oil and gas or of our petroleum and its byproducts. The truth remains that, as you heard in that documentary, Nigeria pays no dime to any company. There's 15 companies published by the NNPCL over lots of months ago as alleged dividends or alleged beneficiaries from the subsidy money tends to be untrue, because according to that documentary, Nigeria pays no dime to any company to refine its oil. Thank God, thank goodness we have the Dangote refinery in the Lekki industrial area in Lagos State that was newly inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari, outgoing president of the Nigerian Republic. And then we also have lots of unfunctional or non-functional refineries in Nigeria. I think the government should channel these funds to resuscitate these refineries for the betterment of Nigeria and for the economic growth of the oil and gas sector. In another development, I have another different update. The alleged continual refusal, let me say, of the governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Diri, to conduct local government elections in the state has drawn reactions from lots of Nigerians and civil societies and political parties too alike. One among these reactions is from the Lamidi Akpakpa and Abayomi Arabambi-led faction of the Labour Party. In a press conference granted by this faction, Arabambi, the factional publicity secretary, called out the governor, stating that the Labour Party National Working Committee is no longer comfortable with the governor's unconstitutional act. This faction of the Labour Party threatened to go on a very strong and hectic protest amidst other threats if the Bayelsa State Governor doesn't retrace his steps on that issue. Watch the brief press conference granted by the Arabambi and the Lamidi Akpakpa-led faction of the Labour Party threatening the Bayelsa State Governor. Stay tuned.
Labour Party National Working Committee is no longer comfortable with the outright and deliberate refusal of the Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Doyedire, to conduct local government elections in the state. The governor cannot deny the importance and significance of the grassroots to the development of the state, as local government areas were created to help establish, nurture, sustain democracy and democratic political culture, because giving them power to function effectively stabilizes and strengthens the political system, since they are closer to the people. Furthermore, the importance of local government in ensuring democratic representation for the people at the grassroots level cannot be overemphasized, and the people of Bayelsa State, particularly those at the grassroots, deserve elected officials who can effectively advocate for their need and drive development initiatives. We are concerned that the funds intended for the local government in Bayelsa State are being withheld by the state government instead of being allocated to democratically elected local government officials. And we view the development as a deliberate neglect of the local government area, contradicting the governor's claim of pursuing a prosperous administration. Furthermore, Labour the utilization of the civil servant to administer local government affairs, and we describe it as an unconventional, unconstitutional, and local government election may be driven by the governor's political agenda, contrary to his earlier statement of prioritizing the people development over political maneuver. Labour Party attention has also been drawn to the frustrated action employed by the People Democratic Party and the governor of Bayelsa State to slow the progress of the ongoing case in Sagama High Court, Yenagoa, which was aimed at compelling the governor to conduct election. And we further express our party concern about the boasting of the governor, claiming that he has the potential to interfere with judicial process. Labour Party hereby urge the governor to respect the independence of the judiciary, which play a crucial role in his assumption of office. Labour Party therefore warns that if the Bayelsa State Independent Electoral Commission, BISEC, fail to issue a notice to commence the process of local government election before July ending 2023, Labour Party will resort to peaceful civil protests aimed at pressurizing the governor to do the needful. This civil action will not only be peaceful but resolute in our pursuit of electoral justice and democratic representation for the people of Bayelsa State. A word is enough for the wise.
Okay, if you're just joining us, this is still Nation Very Star, your most preferred YouTube channel, that herb that brings you updates on the political system and the way things have been going according to the democratic system in Nigeria. I would urge our viewers, both incoming and already existing, to please tap the subscribe button and don't forget to also tap the notification bell so you will get an update anytime we drop a new video. And then finally, I would urge you, share and like this video, drop a comment for us in the comment section, and watch till the end. All these things you do are criteria for YouTube to make our video go all over the world and so viral. Thank you for always staying tuned with us. Finally, former Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Mohammed Yahaya, who recently retired from the army after 35 years in service, has made comments that has sparked up reactions about the issues ongoing in the Nigerian army. Reacting to this particular comment and the bowing out of the Lieutenant General and the former Chief of Army Staff, Hosseini Rufai, a presenter with award-winning presenter, I must say, with Arise News, and his colleagues from Arise News too, have lots of things to say on this particular issue. But I had to cut away Hosseini Rufai, so he will give you an overview of what really started the insurgency in Nigeria. This story is so pathetic, sad and frustrating. I would urge you to stay tuned to this particular channel so you would enjoy this story. Watch this.
We entered this new wave a couple of years ago when somebody was killed in Borno, and the killing of this man led to a great level of insurgency. But let's dial back to the 80s. Something happened in the 80s when a riot was started by somebody of Cameroonian extraction, Metseni riots. And after quelling those riots, there was a panel of inquiry set up in the 80s. And that panel of inquiry did say that if we do not stem the tide of poverty in the 80s in the north, that is going to snowball into something bigger. But like we always do in Nigeria, we push the report of that panel of inquiry aside, since we had generals that could come in there and defeat the enemy. Our former president played a major role then. And we just only thought that the way to solve the problem of insecurity was to use force. Then we had the capacity of force because the adversary were pretty much carrying bows and arrows. But that poverty over the years that went unabated, and the bigger political class kept on getting richer at the expense of the poor over the years, prepared a fertile ground for those that wanted to destabilize Nigeria to harvest people to fight for them. And the fertile ground is what you see in banditry, insurgency, and all sorts of crime and criminality. Also, the poverty in other parts of the country has prepared a fertile ground that the injustice is done. And what we are just hoping that the military will do is they will solve hitherto problems that have been there for so many years. Our insecurity challenge is a collective problem to solve. The military can only provide force. But does force completely eradicate the root cause of the problem? It doesn't. And that's why once we say we've decimated a particular group, another one springs up. A couple of years ago, we're not talking about bandits. Today, they are the order of the day. Now, kidnapping has been added to the fray. Now, nationalist movements have sprung up because of the consistent injustices done across the land. And every region had their fair share. We all remember the case of Igboho. So, how do we start to solve the problem? Number one would be about rejigging the security architecture. The military generals can claim victories. Yes, they have done their bit. But have we solved the problem? No. Because when you look at the number of people that have died in a couple of months, it's shocking across the country. So solutions, number one, rejig security architecture, which is quite a very nebulous word. Because for me, the shocking thing about saying rejigging security architecture is the nebulousness of that word itself. But no matter how nebulous it is, we'll have to find a strategy that works. Secondly, looking at the economic outcomes for a lot of people. Thirdly, bringing fairness and justice back to the country. Because it is fairness and justice that can truly quell those agitations. And it goes back to the talk about Nnamdi Kanu. And other people that feel disgruntled in this country. We should always ask, why is it that we have an easy ground for people that feel disgruntled to have people to join them? Have we been fair to ourselves in our union? And it's not today we've been having the problems. Did we ever introspect to ask what made a certain Isaac Adakaboro carry arms against the nation of Nigeria? So until we start to solve the problem of injustices, then the military will just keep punching and fighting with force as much as possible. They'll keep buying armory, pounding. But there is a lack of love in the land. And a land where there's lack of love, the only stream that flows are the streams of blood. We need to bring unity back to our land. And I think that's the deeper issue on the table.
All right, I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I will say that is the end of the updates. I would say I will draw a curtain. I will draw a curtain on these updates for today, because I feel that our viewers have gotten to their fill on this particular update. So I urge you to keep a date with me in my next video, and don't forget to always do the needful, because I'm here because of you. See you next time. Bye.